So, good day to you, sir. I am Dwight Kensembrinasi. I am from the BS Mari Black Alpha. And today I will discuss all about what is the safety procedures during emergency changeover of the control main engine and the steering gear system. So, first is the changeover of the main change of the changeover of the control of the main engine. So here are the things that you should do, or the procedures in the safety and emergency procedures during the changeover of the control of the main engine. So when you're talking about the changeover of the control of the main engine, many things are being considered. First is you need to inform the other members or the other crew members inside the ship that you will have the changeover of the main engine. So that they can be all aware in all the happenings in the engine room while they're in the other department or other compartments of a ship. So second, there are a lot of things that you should do when you're changing over. So first is you put the blocking device on the main engine governor to emergency position and move the impact hand wheel to opposite position by turning it anti-clockwise to disconnect the fuel pump governor and connect it to the regulating hand wheel on the engine side control. Also, change over valve from the remote to emergency control engine side. So, those things that I had said is that that is the things that you will do or you will need to follow so that you can be able to successfully or safely have the changeover of the main engine. So, by doing these things, the engine could handle the capacity of the whole ship safely. So, as what I said, if you follow these things religiously, you could have a safety changeover of the main engine. So, after doing that, you could run or you could change over the engine or change over in the engine. So after that, you should unlock the fuel regulating handle lock and move it to the start position. So before the start of the start of the changeover, you should check the communication with the bridge so that they would know that the engine side control is ongoing. Also, so that they can safely receive so you in the engine department can safely receive orders from the bridge, whether they will said ahead or astern. But before telling the bridge that you are ready for their command, make sure or check first the light indicators whether it is correct. Green for ahead and red for astern. So you should check that so that if the bridge commands you to go astern when in manual control of the engine, you can be able to determine easily whether it is ahead or astern. So lastly is that for more safetyness in the changeover, you should press the stop button first before going ahead or going astern. Or ahead or astern. So, based on my understanding, that is all I have learned or I had known what is the safety and emergency changeover of the engine or of the main engine. So next is the safety emergency procedures of the changeover of the steering gear system. So what will you do is this. First is that you should follow always the right procedures that is written or that you can see on the steering gear room or in the bridge. Also, you should remember that you can't turn the rudder manually with your bare hands. So imagine you would do the like that of the rudder of the ship, like just like we're doing in the pump boat or fishing boat. No, you can't do that because that is a big ship. That is a massive rudder. You cannot do that manually with your bare hands. So the next thing is that you should remember that there is an emergency steering gear at the bottom or in the engine room. Also, this another steering gear in the bottom is not used by hand, by the use of a hydraulic motor. So, this hydraulic motor that is given a supply from the emergency generator directly through a switchboard panel is that just like in the bridge, you could control the steering or you could control the rudder of a ship. So that steering gear is handled by the crews in the engine room. So next is you really need to secure communication or clear communications in others in the ship, like in the from the engine room to the bridge. So you can get that with the use of a radio or with the VHF. So that is the like that on the ship. So all you always remember that before taking actions in the steering gear, you should remove the safety pin at the manual operation helms of wheel so that you can now control the oil flow of the rams with a rudder angle indicator. So if you manage to do that with the steering gear, you should remember that there is always an angle indicator, whether it is in the 190 or 90 angle or 60 30 like that. So it's angle. This wheel can be turned for going port side or starboard side or vice versa. So it's just like this in the steering gear or steering wheel at the bridge. So lastly is that if there is a power failure, make sure to contact the bridge for orders to operate where angle should the rudder be. If you receive these orders, turn the wheel and check if you are in the right angle. So that you could receive or you could do or you could manage to change the rudder of the ship in on the right direction. So that is all what you should follow when change over of the emergency steering gear or steering operations on the ship. And that is all, sir. Thank you and God bless.